high, hiding the interior from our view. Towers even taller than the fence were at either end, and there was a person standing at the top of both of them. The towers were simple wooden buildings that seemed to only function as lookouts. On each one, long blocks of wood crisscrossed in between the four beams of the tower, and a ladder ran up one side. At the top was a bare slab of wood with a roof, but it was open on all four sides. Beyond the reservation was a lake and large patches of trees, and past that, more flat orange dirt. I couldn't get over how big it was. That was a Reboot city? It had to be almost the size of Rosa. Wren took in a sharp breath and quickly pulled her hand from mine. "They have guns," she said, pointing. "Look at them. They all have guns." She glanced around at the other Reboots. "Put your helmets on if you took them off. Raise your hands." I squinted at where she was pointing and took in a sharp breath. In front of the compound, lining the gate, was an army. There were maybe 75 or 100 people, and it was impossible to tell if they were Reboot or human from this distance. I tightened my helmet strap and raised my hands. They could be humans, couldn't they? We had 100 near-invincible Reboots, but if those were armed humans, we could be in a lot of trouble. Only a shot to the head could kill a Reboot. But a few of us didn't have helmets, and we hardly had any weapons at all. I swallowed as I looked at them again. "They could." She squinted as she raised her hands. "We're too far to tell." If it turned out we escaped from HARC, the Human Advancement and Repopulation Corporation, which enslaved Reboots and made us do their dirty work, only to get killed by a bunch of humans living in the middle of nowhere, I was going to be pissed. If they killed me, I was coming back from the dead again to hunt down the human rebels who told us about this reservation. "If they're humans, let's pick a state now," I said in an attempt to stay calm. Wren's expression twisted into confusion. "A state?" "Yeah, you know, those things they used to have in the rest of the country." "I vote for California. I'd like to see the ocean." She blinked at me. "Are you being serious right now, Callum? We're in the middle of a very tense situation, blink." But a corner of her mouth turned up. "I vote for North Carolina. We can go to Kill Devil Hills and see where the virus started." "That's great, Wren. I pick the ocean and you pick the death state." "Doesn't North Carolina have a beach? Wasn't it on the water?" I laughed. "Fine. Death state it is." She grinned at me, her bright blue eyes searching mine for a brief moment. I knew what she was looking for. I'd been cured of the drugs HARC gave us to make us better, more compliant Reboots, but instead just made us insane, flesh-craving monsters. It had only been a few hours since she'd given me the antidote, and she was watching to see if it didn't work, if she'd have to stop me from killing and trying to eat someone again. She hadn't been fast enough in Austin. I quickly dropped my gaze to the ground. One of the men pulled away from the group and strode across the dirt, his black hair shiny in the morning sunlight. A gun swung from one of his hands, and he had another tucked into the waist of his pants. "Reboot," Wren said quietly. I looked from her to the man. How could she tell from this distance? I couldn't even see his eyes yet. "The way he walks," she clarified, off my confused expression. I turned to the man. He walked quickly but evenly, like he knew where he was going, but he wasn't going to panic about it. I didn't see how any of that said Reboot, but I wasn't a badass 5-year veteran Reboot who could take down 9 men by myself. So what did I know? The Reboots around us slowed as the man got closer, and many of them were watching Wren. I lowered my hands, nudging her back, and she looked at me as I tilted my head toward the man. "What?" She took a quick glance around at the other Reboots, then turned back to me with a slightly exasperated expression. "Am I elected to talk to him or something?" I tried not to grin, but I failed. Wren was so oblivious sometimes to how other people saw her, interacted with her,